Michael Jackson's family, his friends, and his fans remembered him in death today in much the same way he lived his life, with flamboyance and flair. It's not everyone, after all, who has a gold casket covered in a blanket of red roses at center stage of a star-studded ceremony with almost 20,000 people in attendance. The biggest surprise of the day was the public appearance of his 3 children, who were on stage at the end of the service. Their father had gone to extreme lengths to shield them from the public. His daughter, Paris, even spoke in tears at the end. In a moment, impressions of the day. But first, the images of the day.
One of the first records my brother and I ever bought was Dancing Machine. And I'll never forget the two of us trying to get the robot going, trying to be like the Jackson 5.
We would never understand what he endured.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him.
A look at many of the highlights of today's service, and joining us now are 2 of Nightline's anchors, Martin Bashir, who knew Jackson as well as any journalist, and Cynthia McFadden, who was at the Staples Center today. And it was striking, we didn't expect to see, the 3 kids. They've been so protected, Martin, all these years, and then all of a sudden there they were on stage.
It was probably the most moving and surprising moment when this child, who'd been veiled for many years, hidden from view, suddenly emerged on stage, beautiful, eloquent, simply to say that she loved her daddy. And having spent time with the family, I remember seeing her without any covering on her face. But actually, whenever we went out, wherever it was, Las Vegas, Berlin, London, those children were hidden from view. And it's my hope, I think, that this may mark a moment, both of those children coming out, but also perhaps beginning a life that is more normal, perhaps able to go to ordinary school and live lives in ways that ordinary children live them.
Cynthia, there was no model for this. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. 20,000 people, a service, the kind of speculation and outpouring and whatever we've seen in recent days. We didn't know what we were going to get. We didn't know if we were going to get a show, a ceremony, a service. What did we get?
Well, I think we got something very nice, Charlie. There were 16,000 people inside the Staples Center, and I have to tell you, there was no pushing, there was no shoving, there was no trying to edge people out of the way. People were nice to each other. They were respectful, and I must say, extraordinarily, there were a few waits in between numbers, and people were quiet. They weren't talking, except for a few shout-outs. We heard a few people shouting out, "Long live the King of Pop." Michael Jackson's now directing the choir in heaven. Those kind of remarks. But it was extremely moving to be inside the Staples Center earlier today. Very moving.
And Martin, where does the focus turn now? Does it stay on his music? Does it stay on the kind of tributes that we saw today? Or do we get back to the Jackson, quote, problems?
I think the reality is that today's been memorializing him and emphasizing his genius as a performer, a composer, a singer, a dancer. One man with 3 fabulous attributes. The reality, though, is that while the Reverend Al Sharpton says he doesn't want us to dig with the mess and we should focus on the message, the reality is that there are many issues to come. How did Michael Jackson die? We're waiting for the toxicologist's report. What's going to happen to his assets? And what's going to happen to those 3 children? There are rumors that the mother of 2 of them, Debbie Rowe, may seek to take custody of those children through the courts. This will be a very difficult few weeks ahead. Today was very moving and profound and dignified. I'm not sure that we can say the same about the future.
All right, Martin Bashir and Cynthia McFadden, thanks very much.